Hello there, my name is David Pustansky and welcome to the Geek Battle Gaming YouTube channel. Now, if you haven't done so already, please smash that subscribe button because on today's video we will be investigating the Intellivision Amico. Now, I am fairly late to the Intellivision Amico party, and throughout this video I will be explaining a little bit about the history of the Intellivision Amico, the history of Intellivision itself, my limited experience up to this point as a consumer interested in the Intellivision Amico, and I will also be digging into what's currently going on with the console, because it's not out yet and people are getting very concerned. Now, I will be looking at various sources, different websites, giving my opinions just into what's going on, and I'll be digging into what happens when you try to buy an Amico, its games and other things from the Intellivision website, and what we can tell from social media and other companies. So without further ado, let's get into it. So a few months ago I did an article on Extreme.tv where I spoke about the Intellivision Amico because I thought it seemed super interesting. I later did a post or two on social media about the Intellivision Amico, and for the most part it was something that I knew I was intrigued by. I didn't know how quickly I would want to rush to get one, and truthfully, until a lot of this trouble started in more recent months, it was something that wasn't super high on my radar. So for those of you who don't know what the Intellivision Amico is, let's take a brief history lesson.
In 1977, Mattel Toys started an electronics division and released the world's first microprocessor-based handheld games. The same year, Atari released the Atari 2600 video game system. Mattel Electronics started development on its own video game system, Intellivision. Test marketed in 1979, it was officially introduced in 1980.
The original Intellivision was a console that released just over 40 years ago and came from Mattel, and was a rival to the mighty Atari 600. It shone bright for a short period of time, but Intellivision didn't stay as an ongoing contender in the video game market into future generations. Over the years there have been several Intellivision compilations and plug-and-play devices, but where the Amico story starts is in about 2017 or 18, when a new company headed by a well-known video game composer, Tommy Tallarico, announces their intention to relaunch the Intellivision brand. The games shown off for the Amico so far have all had a family-friendly approach. We get a lot of games which are remakes of games that came out on the original Intellivision, including things like Snafu, Astrosmash, Moon Patrol and Shark, and then we also get games which are licensed from other companies, namely Atari and Interplay. Interplay have given Intellivision the rights to do a new Earthworm Jim game, and from Atari we are seeing things like Pong, Breakout, Asteroids and that kind of thing. Now, beyond that, we also get other licenses from outside the video game industry like Major League Baseball, Care Bears and Sesame Street, so you can all see that it is family friendly and fun.
More than 2 decades after the original idea, Intellivision lives.
The problems for the system come in the fact that this system has had several delays. Originally it was meant to release in 2020, but of course there has been a worldwide pandemic. But despite that, other systems which are similar in their being slightly smaller niche systems like the Atari VCS, the Evercade, the Playdate, have all eventually seen their systems get released. Now, for the Intellivision Amico, people are starting to worry that that may not happen, because they've seen that the company has got a lot of investors over time, or people pre-ordered and put down money for the console, and there's been several rounds of crowdfunding, and it still doesn't look like we have a solid release date. So people are understandably concerned.
But Intellivision refused to die.
Now recently Intellivision have announced that they were entering into a quiet period, which understandably is going to get people worried, because a quiet period means that there's no communication. This quiet period is supposedly so that they're trying to get more funding or potential people to buy out the company just to be able to carry it on, but with no information coming out, it just means that people are speculating, and this is taking a nosedive for people's public perception of the company.
While the enthusiasm for Intellivision and its games was still strong, the reception for the new hardware, Intellivision 3, Aquarius, the entertainment computer system, was lukewarm. Too little, too late, commented one analyst.
Now, before we get further into the investigation, I'll just go over what my personal experience has been as a customer who is potentially interested in picking up an Intellivision Amico. Now, one thing I do know as I've been launching this gaming channel is that I've been focusing on a lot of retro-themed consoles. It's not been my intention just to do retro-themed consoles, it's just kind of evolved that way so far. And I know that I'll do lots of modern stuff as well, but along the way I've been doing lots of Evercade reviews. I got an Atari VCS, I've just done a big review about the A500 Mini. And along the way, I knew that I would be interested in the Intellivision Amico. And so, over the last few months, I made it my mission that I was going to get an original Intellivision. So, back in the day, my family had an Intellivision, and I played it so many years ago, and then I don't even know at what point we no longer had it, because I've got most of my older consoles that I've had throughout my life. So, I've had this for a little while now, since the beginning of the year. And I was all gearing up to do things about the Intellivision, because I also know that there are the Intellivision games, which one came out at the end of last year on the Evercade, and then another one is literally coming out in May 2022, but we'll get more to that in a little while. So I was very excited to have like some original hardware in Intellivision and to play some games. I was quite pleased to get Donkey Kong with this one, and some other games. What's this? Lock and Chase and Astrosmash and a bunch of others, and I was going to do some videos on those. I know that I'd already got a copy of Intellivision Lives for the PS2, and I've been recording some gameplay footage of that. Then I have become aware, as I'm sure lots of people from the Intellivision Amico community are aware, that there has been concerns, there has been trouble, and there's been all of like the rumours and no confirmation to the contrary that the console isn't going to come out.
But Intellivision refused to die.
I can understand completely that lots of people would be very worried if they've invested a lot of money in it, because I know that some people have like pre-ordered systems and they've put money down. I gather some people invested, that I believe this has gone through 2 or 3 rounds of crowdfunding in certain ways. So I completely can understand why some people would be very worried, and it being like the internet, I know that some people can get very cross on that. I'm not going to judge people either way on here. I'm just going to give you my thoughts, because like I say, I come to this party very late in the day. When it was announced a few weeks ago that Intellivision, that the Intellivision Amico on Gamestop in the US, and I don't think we have Gamestop in the UK anymore, that some people were charged and then not receiving consoles, and then they had to try and get a refund, and then GameStop may have like cancelled the product altogether, perhaps because they felt it made them look bad. That might, in all fairness, that's probably GameStop's fault if they charged people for a product they hadn't got to ship, because surely they should know that like video game consoles or games in general get delayed, and they should be on top of making sure that they have like their stock ready to ship out, because delays happen. But then from that, it prompted like a new price and a new situation on the Intellivision website, where that you could write to them, say, hey look, here's my cancelled GameStop pre-order, and then they'll honour the same price. But just with some of the challenges, they said that you're no longer going to be able to get the black or white Intellivision Amicos. You'll only be able to get the wood grain one and the galaxy purple one, and you'll now be able to get it with the option of either 1 or 2 controllers. And I know lots of people have pointed out that the whole point of this was it was about like playing together and family gaming, and that it comes with a minimum of 2 controllers. Although it has been the case that you can get a smartphone app, which we will be taking a look at in a little while as well. And the price went up, and it was at this stage because I had some peripheral awareness that it's been delayed, but I also knew that I think like the Evercade was originally delayed, and the play date was delayed, and the Atari VCS had delays, and then last year I didn't back it or like crowdfund any of these things, but I was able to get my Atari VCS even though it's not been released in the UK. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to look on Amazon, and I saw that the Intellivision Amico was still listed at the price that I'd previously seen it for. If anything, it got like a £10 off thing, so that you could get the £10 cheaper, and it said it had 2 controllers. So I was like, Amazon are usually quite good. If there's a problem, you can get your money back, or you can cancel pre-orders. They don't take cash before they ship it. And if they did make that same error that GameStop did, I feel very confident I'll get my money back. So it was at that stage I was like, right, I'm going to pre-order the Amico now. And so I pre-ordered an Amico from amazon.co.uk, and it currently says that the release date is December 31st, 2022, and I've seen so many times things like this are just placeholders, so it doesn't mean it is coming out then, it doesn't mean that it's not coming out earlier, it doesn't mean that it's actually coming out at all. Now, I've also checked on the Argos website, which is a big shop we have in the UK, and Game, which is the closest we've got as an equivalent to GameStop. It's just game.co.uk. And the interesting thing, like an observation I will make here, is that GameStop obviously cancelled the product, as far as I understand it, so they're not dealing with Intellivision anymore. They had their embarrassment, and they've backed away from it completely.
But Intellivision refused to die.
Now, in the question of is the Amico going to come out at all, let's dig into what we know and what we don't know. Now, what I do know is that GameStop cancelled all pre-orders. So as far as GameStop are concerned, if it was only down to GameStop, this product wouldn't go out to the shops because they're not dealing with it anymore. But Amazon still have it listed, and Amazon is huge worldwide, and they still have it listed. It's still listed on Game, and it's still listed on Argos. Now, obviously, for the Amico to be listed on each of these retailers, there has to have been some distributor deals or whatever, like agreements, arrangements saying that yes, we will sell this product through our company, and like and Intellivision saying, will you sell this, and whatever the deal was, it's been set. And none of those companies have cancelled the pre-orders. I see that as a positive sign. Now, it might be that Intellivision and the Amico just isn't a big enough deal to these companies, that it's been completely overlooked, that GameStop, it came onto their radar when there was a negative experience, so they cancelled it. And maybe, even though that seems like a big deal to the Amico community, maybe this just hasn't filtered through to Argos and Amazon yet, and they literally haven't cancelled it. They're playing wait and see. Maybe Intellivision have assured them, look, this is going to ship and things do get delayed. And we will see in time. But like, I would say that that's something I do see in favour of this product actually seeing a release, is that it's still listed on these big companies' websites. They haven't removed it, and it can potentially make Amazon or Game or Argos look bad, and in particular Game, because in the UK that's the equivalent that we have to GameStop. All they sell is like video game and that kind of related materials, and so if they want to get some bad press by having what happened with GameStop happen with them, then I'm sure they'd be in a position to have it on their radar to investigate and maybe have followed suit if it wasn't going to come out at all.
This aggressive and expensive development took its toll. Mattel Electronics started posting massive losses. It was hoped that the spending would pay off once the new product hit the market.
So anyway, I'm going to now go onto some websites, show you what things I've been able to dig up. Okay, so let's just investigate what we can from the Intellivision website. So let's have a look here. United Kingdom, so it says pre-orders. So we're going to investigate what we can here. United Kingdom, pre-order from Intellivision. And it says here that the white and black ones are temporarily unavailable, as we can see there. Now if we come across over onto the others, you can't click on them at all. I'm sure you could earlier. Maybe you can't. Okay, so let's go on to pre-order. Oh, maybe this here where you click on them. So that's where you could click on. So let's have a look what it says here. Vintage wood grain Amico pre-order reservation $0. Now that's interesting just to begin with, because obviously I went on to pre-orders United Kingdom. Let's click on to Germany and see if it comes up with it being in euros, and it does not. So let's click on to Italy and just see what happens. And pre-order from Intellivision. And let's click on this, and once again it's in dollars, and it says here the wood grain Amico retails for $289.99 USD with one controller, or $339.99 US dollars with two controllers, with tax / VAT and shipping. So sorry, plus tax and VAT and shipping. Reserve yours now with no deposit. To reserve multiple systems, please select your desired quantity below. We may try that in a little bit. Let's see what we can find out from what's going on here. Prior to shipment, we will reach out to you via email to collect the remaining balance, plus applicable taxes and shipping. For countries we are currently shipping to, please see our pre-order frequently asked questions. So let's see, I ordered one of these earlier today, being in the UK, and I've already previously ordered one on Amazon, and I might check the status of that as well. But let's see, if countries we are currently shipping to. Will it work outside the USA? Yes, but Amico will ship. Yes, but Amico will ship with a standard US plug, so you'll need to purchase an adapter kit separately. We're also working diligently to ensure that all necessary regulations are met for as many major countries as possible. Major countries? That's interesting. However, the impact of the global health crisis has been felt in this process. If at launch Amico is not able to ship to your country, we will refund your order of $0. What payment methods are accepted? You will have the option to use a credit card. Will there be another chance to pre-order? At this time, this is the only opportunity to secure an Amico entertainment system prior to the official launch, even though it is on Amazon. I placed a pre-order and haven't received an order confirmation. What do I do? Start by checking your spam folder for an email from Intellivision Entertainment. These messages can take some time to arrive, so please allow up to 3 business days. What if I want to pre-order multiple systems or different colours? It's easy. Add as many systems and colours to your cart as desired and proceed with checkout as usual. What if I need to cancel my order and receive a refund of $0? No problem, send us a detailed message through our contact form and we are happy to refund your deposit of $0. What if my GameStop pre-order was cancelled?
But Intellivision refused to die.
If your GameStop pre-order was cancelled, we will honour your GameStop's $299.99 price on a replacement pre-order directly with us for either Galaxy Purple or Vintage Wood Grain with 2 controllers. After you place your new pre-order, please send a copy of your cancelled GameStop receipt or email to special@intellivision.com. Now, I'll say that the interesting thing about this is obviously they're talking about what happened with GameStop a couple of weeks back, where people started getting charged and then GameStop cancelled it. But what about Amazon? In the UK, I know for a fact that you could pre-order this from Argos or from Game, and all of these things are still up. So it's interesting that Argos Amazon Game, they haven't got wind of this. They're not cancelling things. So does that suggest that Intellivision are still in communication with them and saying that things are still going ahead? Or is it an indication that perhaps they're just, you know, too big a companies and they're not, it's not on their radar yet? Who knows? If you cancelled your order, if your cancelled order was for a black or white model, those are no longer available for pre-order, but you may still take advantage of the special pricing on a Galaxy Purple or Vintage Wood Grain to replace your cancelled black or white order. Now, the thing that's interesting is if your cancelled order, so the one on Amazon is definitely a white one. I would have happily had the wood grain one from Amazon, but does that mean that they're not making the white ones anymore? Who knows? When will my Amico ship? We are focused and determined to deliver pre-ordered units by the end of this year, and will be available in major retailers in North America, Europe, and shortly thereafter other areas around the world. So this FAQ, it says this year, and so not putting a year on it, that would still have worked last year, it would still work next year, but the fact that it's definitely updated about cancelled Gamestop pre-orders, it does suggest that this is some document that's been written this year. By the end of this year, we are focused and determined to deliver pre-ordered units by the end of this year. So is that an indication that this will release this year? That's what they're still doing. Obviously the pre-order on Amazon, and I've seen the same on Argos and Game, says they will be released on the final day of this year, and so this ties in with that. Not that that's just a placeholder date, obviously, meaning that it is this year, but this is definitely something which I don't see that many people talking about, for the fact that the Amico is still, from what they're saying, planned for this year. But obviously they're going to say this because if they say it might be next year, then they're going to get no one pre-order it this year. Do you accept checks, cash, or money orders? At this time, accepted payment methods include all major credit cards. It doesn't say only, so it doesn't really answer that question. What countries can you ship my Amico? Below is a list of countries we are currently scheduled to ship Amico consoles. Additional countries continue to be added to our roadmap, so if you do not see your country listed below, please contact our customer support team for more information. And let's go through them. Just because we could check this later on. Sweden, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, and United States of America. Now, the important thing is United Kingdom, just because we're going to get to something in a minute about their boxed physical games. So we'll see if that's still a thing by the time that I'm doing this. But let's just have a look here. So let's go back to where it's got about ordering. Now I'm just going to click to order, add to cart. Oh, hang on, number of controllers. Now of course I want the one with 2, so let's add to cart, added, and then we see the shopping cart has got this, and it says 0. Now it doesn't say that I can change the quantity of consoles, but let's go on to checkout. And now purchase, completing your order, order confirmed. Now here's the interesting thing, I ordered one earlier and I'm going to tell you what the number was, because okay, so this is interesting. The order number earlier was 5949. Now the order number is 5952. Now I'm going to go back and order another one, but this time the Galaxy Purple. Okay, so what's interesting is the number has come up 5953. So obviously I had 5949, and then just now I got 5952, and now I have 5953. So literally those numbers do reflect the amount of systems that have been pre-ordered. A confirmation has been sent, which is great. Now, obviously I'm not going to buy 3 of these machines, and I'm not trying to mess Intellivision about with this. I will potentially get 2 of these if they ever come out, and I'll get 1 of each configuration. The one I ordered earlier was the 1 controller machine, and I'll probably cancel that one. If it looks like it's going to come out and be worth it, then maybe I'll get the Galaxy Purple and the Wood Grain, and yeah, I'll see either as collectors, or I'll check the state of where I think things are at with the Intellivision. I 100% want 1 of these, and I've got my pre-order on Amazon as well, and I'll mention more about that in a second. Limited edition boxed bundles are now available. Click here. So limited edition boxed edition bundles. Each boxed edition comes with a 3D lenticular card, premium metal coin, and a RFID game card that will automatically activate once each title is available on our game shop. Quantities are limited. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of gaming history. Click the links below to purchase. And let's go on to, I'm going to open this in a new tab if I can. Wouldn't let me. Okay. Europe. Intellivision Entertainment Europe ships to the United Kingdom. That's great. So I don't remember if I saw that or not before. Let's hope that this now works. Get shipping options for United Kingdom. Shop now. So that's great. It comes up in UK money, pound sterling, it says at the top here. Okay, and let's go down here. Limited collector's boxed edition complete bundle pack of 8. So it says there Great Britain pounds. This version is available in EU only. Now this is where things went wrong for me before, and this is one of the reasons why I've made this video. Just because, even though it's got English pounds written there and it says pound sterling, when I click add to cart, view my cart, it then says here subtotal, and I'm going to go on to checkout. And now here's the problem. Country/region. It doesn't give the option for the UK anymore. So how about that? You can order the system to the UK, but to order the boxed games, which I really actually do want, this is what started me on this whole thing, is that I'd looked at the Amico months and months ago and I was like, yeah, I'm interested in that. I'd written an article about it. I did a post or 2 about it on social media, and it wasn't super top of my priorities on my radar. But then when I heard that there was like concerns with it, I was like, one, I wanted to be, well, you know, be a supporter rather than it not happen. It's like, if I can be part of the solution to, and I know I'm a tiny like grain of sand in the solution to it, but it's like, if everyone had the attitude of, well, I'm not going to support it, then it doesn't happen. So I was like, well, if I, you know, support it, then that will help it to happen. And also, you know, truthfully, if I get the games and then it doesn't come out, that's a kind of weird, quirky, cool thing to have. It's expensive, but, you know, often video games and collectibles like this, you're not really going to lose the value. They'll probably go up in time. So I was like, it's a win-win. So let's have a look here. Country and region. The options are Sweden, Netherlands, Italy. Then we have a weird dash. I don't even know why it's like that. Can you scroll up? No, not really. So then you have Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Spain, or Sweden. So as much as I'd want to order them to the UK, it's not possible. Now, I don't know why this is, other than the fact that, well, actually I do know why.
Many of the games in this glut of titles were rushed to market and were of poor quality. Disappointed consumers turned their television sets from video games to the hot new thing, MTV.
So what I do know is that on the Amico Club Facebook group, I asked a question. Anyone else from the UK tried to order these? Anyone else had a problem? And a couple of people then said, oh, you should speak to, and I forget his name, the guy that's just left, like the head of their European operations. And he directly responded saying that we're not shipping to the UK because of Brexit. But it does say that they are going to sell the console to the UK, and it is listed on Amazon UK, and it's listed on Game UK, and it's listed on Argos UK. Now that might be a different supply chain, so that it goes to these big companies and it's all fine, and maybe it's just Intellivision won't ship out directly themselves, like from their offices to the UK if it's too expensive to do so. But I just find that weird, because I know that I can buy and sell things on eBay that are going to Europe, and it just means that there's slightly different charges for shipping. And I don't know why Intellivision couldn't just say, oh, we can send it to you, but because of Brexit it now means you have to pay $10 euros extra in shipping, and then I would make the decision to either go ahead or not. But it's just very bizarre to me that it's just flat out no. And I do think that's a little bit of a problem.
Thousands of fans who grew up with Intellivision wrote in, wanting to play the games again. So Intellivision Productions Incorporated was formed to bring the original games to new platforms and to new generations.
Now, whilst the Intellivision company has gone into a quiet period, it doesn't mean that other companies that may be connected to Intellivision, either through developing games or releasing other products, are also in a quiet period. So let's see what we can learn from some of those. So here we see the Evercade website, and the thing that's interesting about the Evercade as some kind of parallel to the Amico, like one, there's coincidentally Earthworm Jim, but it's that it's another console that came out during the pandemic. It's another much smaller company that have had to create something against the odds of like shortages with technology or chips or motherboards or whatever the concerns have been, and they've been able to do it despite some delays. Same with the Atari VCS. These are all interesting consoles that have come out during an interesting time period. And it says here publishers. Let's see who we have. Let's see, Intellivision. Now you can't click on it, but Intellivision are listed then. We have here Intellivision Collection 2, and let's just open that. Now Intellivision Collection 2, does it give a release date? So pre-order, find out more. It says pre-order. Estimated shipping date May 2022. So this should be out, it's May now, it should be out this month. And obviously this is Intellivision Games working with Evercade, Blaze, who make Evercade, and this is coming out this month. So despite anything else, it is true that Intellivision do have a product coming out this month. Also, let's check here, because it's on Fun Stock. Let's see when Intellivision Collection 1 was a thing. So the interesting thing that it comes up here, the first result on Amazon is Intellivision Amico. Let's open that in a new tab. But does it come up with Intellivision for Evercade? Yes, it does. But that's Collection 1. Evercade Intellivision Collection 1. Let's see if it says the release dates, because often this is good for that. And let's see when it says. Release date 17th of December 2021. Intellivision Collection 1 came out. This came out in December. So Intellivision literally did see a product released in December last year, and they've got another one coming out this month. And it's just interesting, again, on social media, they're not saying, hey, we've got this game coming out, but let's check them out, see if they said the same sort of thing in December. Even if Blaze put together these collections and they develop the cartridges or whatever, and Intellivision don't have to do any of the work other than supplying like the ROMs to then be programmed onto the cartridges, I don't know. But it does mean that Intellivision are doing business as of this month. And it might be that if the agreement was signed and Intellivision will get money from sales, or if there was some amount paid up front, again I don't know what the agreement would have been, that Blaze licensed these games to come out on the Evercade, it means that there is still a product coming out this month. It doesn't mean that this couldn't happen if the company was going bankrupt or shutting down, or had already shut down. If an agreement was signed, then it might be, well, that's separate and this is still going ahead. But it does mean that Intellivision were active enough recently enough to be able to make these agreements, to have the Intellivision Collection 1 release in December of last year, and then have a Collection 2 release on the Evercade this month in May of 2022. So again, I'm going to see that as a positive sign that the Amico could still be a product, because it's not like literally nothing is happening. Okay, so here we are on the Intellivision Entertainment Twitter, the official one. They have 5,977 followers. Pinned tweet is from July last year. That's obviously not good. We hope you enjoyed this unboxing video of John Alvarado and friends revealing Amico's finished packaging and highlighting some unique features of Amico controllers and games. On the Intellivision Facebook page, the most recent, so it's a pinned post actually, 7th of February. Right, but then the most recent post, once again, is March 21st about the unboxing video. I think probably the biggest mistake that's happening with Intellivision for their public perception is, again from what I understand from it, is that they've gone into what they call a quiet period.
But Intellivision refused to die.
That they were looking for either people to invest into the Amico or to perhaps acquire the company. Now obviously that's very worrying if the situation is that they need someone to buy the company. And I think it was a thing that on their Start Engine campaign, which was one of the crowdfunder things that they tried to launch earlier this year, where they said they needed $5 million and that they'd got enough funding or funds for the company to run through the end of March or April, which basically means that, is Intellivision done now with it being the beginning of May? Are we going to get an announcement in the coming days? We know that the head of their European operations, forget his name again, Hans something or other, it's just been said that he's no longer with the company. So is it just going to be there's an announcement, a press release, or is it just going to be from former employees saying, yeah, that company's gone, as far as we're concerned, we don't know what's happening to it? Or is someone going to pick up the pieces? Now, it may be the case that it's done, or maybe this quiet period is a period of uncertainty and there is a chance that they will come out swinging and fighting on the other side. There is the chance that no one will support it because people see anyone potentially interested in it might just want to buy the company out of bankruptcy. I don't 100% understand how all of that would work, but that might be a path for this still to be released. And there is the chance that, again, I believe I've heard a quote somewhere along the way saying that they could put out the system themselves, assemble it and put out the systems to make sure their backers get whatever, however many backers they've got to get the founders editions. They could put it out themselves, and I gather that some people wouldn't be happy with that. Something that's concerning is that they haven't updated the website, which if they can't even update the website consistently, then what chance do we have that they are going to be working on the console? Because the website should be the easy thing to update. But we can see here that it says simple, affordable. An Amico system with 2 controllers and 6 installed games will retail for around $249 at launch. and we know that no longer to be true, because when you go to pre-order it, it says it's $289.99 with one controller, or $339.99 with two controllers. So why on their front page do they say it's $249? Because literally it's going up by $90 if you want it with two controllers. I've got a system called a Tiger Gamecom, which was released in 1997, and maybe 10 or 15 games ever came out for it. So imagine if you got your new Intellivision Amico and there were 6 games that came like pre-installed, or that you got with it, or if people have bought the physical games, which we'll get to in a bit. If you got those and they were the only games that ever came out for it, that you spent $300 or £250 or whatever it costs, and it was literally this box for 6 games only, or maybe an additional 8 games that you've got in physical form, and it's like this whole thing for just 14 games, and people would be gutted about that. And whilst I completely understand that point of view, just because there have been so many games or consoles which have been like concepts or shown off and then never released, never seen the light of day, I am still of the opinion that I would rather it release literally if there was only these 14 games for it, or literally just these 6 games for it. And I say that for the reason that if the machine is in your hands, then it might be that the unfinished games might get finished by someone else, that they pick them up and finish them and could still get released, so that even if it's on a jailbroken console, that you can like add these new games. So say you couldn't get the new Shark game for it, I think you probably get that built in, but say you couldn't get Shark, and then another company picked up just to finish off the game and still release it. Or if like just like a homebrew scene started, like I've got an Atari Jaguar and that system didn't sell well, but I know that people over the years have continued to make Atari Jaguar games, and the same with the Sega Dreamcast, and so many of these old consoles which didn't do super well, communities keep them alive. And so if the Amico can come out in whatever quantity and in whatever form, then just let the community open up the system, let the community keep making software for it, and it'll become this niche product, and it won't be obviously what the original vision was. And I know some people will be upset about that, but I would still see that as a win to have something rather than nothing. And I give that as the example that like there was the 3DO console, and then there was said there's going to be a new console called an M2, and I remember seeing that back in the late 90s, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to look so cool, because they said that there was going to be the game D2 coming out on it, and eventually a version of that game came out on the Dreamcast. But I was like, yeah, so like the M2 and D2 coming out on it, this looks interesting. And I remember there were some other games shown off for it, and the system never came out. It was probably a long way from being finished, and now it's just something which exists as rumour, myth, and a couple of mock images in old magazines. Okay, so it appears that there are about 70 plus games here. So like 73, I believe, is the amount I counted. And this is one of the interesting things, is that like the gameplay trailer, it doesn't like have a list of games on the Intellivision website, but it sends you to their YouTube where you can see a trailer of many games. And it says here on the Wikipedia page that there are various developers making them, like not tons, and there are a lot that aren't specified who is making these games, and that isn't obviously a positive sign. But like 70 games, and if they're all funded by Intellivision, or all being made by Intellivision, or like being overseen by Intellivision, maybe it's just that they absolutely stretched themselves too thin to try to give themselves like a sense of a large library. Also, there are like licenses in here. Like, did Intellivision have to pay out for the rights to be able to have like Major League Baseball or Sesame Street or Care Bears? Are Intellivision paying Atari to be able to have like Pong and Asteroids and what else was there? Missile Command. Like, are Intellivision paying for like Earthworm Jim 4 from, it says from Intellivision Entertainment there, but obviously that's Interplay, I believe. Is it Interplay? Yes, Interplay. One of the things which is just like how I think about this is that if this was completely bombing and going away and there's no chance that it was going to ever see the light of day, even if there's like non-disclosure agreements or whatever in place, surely some of these companies would just be like, yeah, we're not making this game anymore, or we're now making this new game, and that would come to light. Because with 70 games in production, and however many of them are just announcements and however many of them are being actively worked on, you'd feel that if this has all just ground to a halt and stopped already, that someone, like a developer, a designer, someone somewhere, would have said something or just been like, oh no, I'm not working on that anymore, we don't know what the status of that project is, it's on hold, and nothing like that has come out. Now, this might just be that they're all, like I said, non-disclosure agreements, or they're just hoping that things are going to work out and their things are still up in the air. But it just feels to me like there's a lot of people from brands that we can trust do exist, that this, like, the question of, you know, is this a scam? Like, clearly I'd say it's not a scam. It was never intended as a scam. Not if you've got Major League Baseball involved. Not if you've got Sesame Street as a license and Care Bears as a license, because these are out of the video game industry. Now, also in the video game industry, if they've got Earthworm Jim, that's Interplay. If they've got Asteroids and Pong and Missile Command and Breakout, that's Atari. And you'd feel like, especially with Atari having the somewhat of a rival console in the VCS, maybe they'd be like, well, we're going to pick up these games, or these games aren't going to come out, and they wouldn't want their name dragged through the mud. And, you know, Interplay might want to say something about, you know, Earthworm Jim, and they've and I believe Interplay still have, we'll bring it up in a second, an Earthworm Jim game like shown on their website. So let's go to Earthworm Jim and let's look this up, see what we can see. On the Interplay website, we see this thing which is like an interview with Earthworm Jim, and this is fairly recent from what I can tell, but this doesn't specify at all what it's for, other than the idea that it's something new about Earthworm Jim. It's slightly more adult than what I remembered, and obviously with the Amico being very family friendly focused, I don't know if this is now like a slightly more twisted Conker like Earthworm Jim, and it's just going to be for something else entirely, but it doesn't specify what it's for. The other major thought is, beyond all of the companies that are involved beyond Intellivision, so whether it's Atari licensing their games and their franchises to be released onto the Intellivision, or Interplay with Earthworm Jim, or Major League Baseball, or Sesame Street, or Care Bears, like, these aren't like perhaps the biggest franchises in the world, but Sesame Street doesn't want their name dragged through the mud. And so I have to believe that for these licenses to have been paid for, they probably had to have been paid for. Something's had to have happened. So for that reason, I don't think this was intended as a scam, because why would you give a portion of your money away to Care Bears or Major League Baseball if it's just to create what is something that you know is never going to see the light of day?
In October 1983, Mattel Electronics announced losses of over $280 million for the year. More layoffs quickly followed. Down to about 30 people, the software staff spent November and December polishing up their games and their resumes.
If Hans here has just left his position or changed his position to some degree, then maybe that is the first sign of people jumping ship.
This was a new industry, so enthusiasm and energy were more important than experience.
But I just feel like people would be coming out and saying more if this was a a scam, they'd be wanting to distance themselves with it so they didn't get any of that stink onto them.
The remaining programmers were laid off January 20th, 1984. They threw a wake for Intellivision.
Now, I really believe that if any of these people who it's listed on their team knew that it was a scam, they'd be wanting to distance themselves with it, because otherwise their name will be forever attached to something that was revealed to be a scam. So I think that by leaving themselves on there, if they know that it's not going to come out, they're just going to make themselves look bad, and they'd want to create that distance. Doesn't mean that this won't happen in the coming days or weeks, where people, if they've got contracts where they can't discuss things, they might come out later and everyone might start saying, oh yeah, I could see the writing on the wall, or I knew about this ages ago but I wasn't allowed to speak, and they'll do whatever they have to get new positions in new companies or whatever.
For many, designing Intellivision games was their first job.
But this just feels such a mystery of what is happening with the Intellivision Amico at the moment, and it's because they've gone into this quiet period and literally just aren't saying anything. Like, saying nothing just leads to this wild speculation, which, is fair, because people are going to speculate, and it might be that if everyone's speculating something negative and there's nothing negative going on, then my god, Intellivision are allowing everyone else to write their narrative for them, and it doesn't sound good. Now, we definitely are aware that people in Intellivision are abundantly aware of the negative perception around the Amico.
Life seemed to be half stress, half party.
And unless they do something to change it, it will only get worse. Now, if it's that they are going to come out saying, "Oh ye of little faith," then they've got something real to show, saying this is the release date, there's going to be this many great games launch with it, and this is what it's going to look like, and just for all of the people that have waited, here's these free games, or here's something to restore people's faith. Unless they do something big, then I think that they're really putting themselves in a unfortunate position. And so once again, I'm not trying to be negative about this. I'm trying to be positive, not to be needlessly positive, but it's better to be positive than not. I've actually reached out and written to a few companies that are designing the games, developing the games for the Amico, and I'll be honest, I've only heard back from one, which just gave me an email address to say, hey, contact this person from Intellivision if you want to find out more. I haven't pursued that yet, and if I decide to, then I might do a follow-up video, but truthfully I didn't expect to hear back anything, because I expected it to be that everything's in the quiet period, and I'm sure many of the developers might be continuing on with development of Amico games, but it might be a case of that they're just doing this and still wondering themselves if this thing is going to see release. One of the interesting things with the Intellivision Amico is that you can actually try some of it in a sense. The game Finnegan Fox is a remake of a game called Fox and Forests, which is already out. It's been out for a few years, and they're doing it up with these fancy graphics, and it'll be interesting to see if that ever sees light of day in its current form, because obviously they could just put it out on Steam or somewhere, just as the original Fox and Forest games was. So here we see the Intellivision Amico app, and we can see here that it loads up and it says post special event recap. We recently held a virtual Intellivision Amico special event packed with never before seen gameplay, new game reveals and updates from our team around the world. We revealed exciting licensing and retail partnerships and more. Let's click on more news, and it's blank. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. It says store. If you click on store, and it looks like it's just loading a website, and it's Intellivision.com, and it shows that you can get t-shirts and things. Now it'll be interesting to see actually if you can order those to the UK. So from $35, and it shows the different t-shirts. Let's just click on one here. I don't think I want Utopia, but let's see, how do I add something to cart? from $35. Select color. Heather Midnight Navy. Select large. Let's go for a medium. I only want one. Added to cart. So it's now added to cart. Let's see what happens when I go onto my cart. And okay, I've added to cart. Okay, it says cart down at the bottom. And let's see, checkout. So you can go on to checkout, and I don't want to click pay. United States. So look at that. You can still order a t-shirt to the UK, but you cannot order the games to the UK. It might be that these t-shirts are with like a company like Teesprings or one of these like print-on-demand companies, and so you could still order a t-shirt to the UK. You can still order an Intellivision Amico to the UK. You just can't order the games, which are supposedly available right now still to purchase and get those in the UK. Main menu on the app, and it says RFID reader, and you click on it and nothing happens. Okay, it does. NFC is not supported on your device, and it says iOS read. Now I don't know why that's not. Maybe it's not. This is an iPhone 11 Pro Max, so I'm a couple of generations old, but it doesn't let me get back. At least I don't think so. Nope, so I'm gonna have to crash the app, and let's open it one more time, just because in a minute we are going to show off the Intellivision Amico game running demo, and I believe this is Moon Patrol, and you can either have tilt mode or button mode. Now I'm going to have button mode here. Oh, I should have had it on tilt mode just because you'll be able to see it. And let's screen capture this just so I can show you my experience. It says Intellivision Entertainment. There you can see the Geek Battle logo just reflecting from my other monitor. So yeah, this is Moon Patrol, the Milky Way Chronicles demo, and let's start this up. And what's interesting about them letting you play an Amico game on your iPhone, and if you can get this on Android as well, is it shows that like they're also porting the game to iPhone, and that kind of suggests is it like an iPhone game. So I didn't really pay attention to the controls. Let's slow down, let's speed up. And look, these graphics, they're not... Oh, I just crashed and died. These aren't going to set the world on fire. But if this was a really fun game, then I'd enjoy playing it, and I have no problem with that. Whee! Just do a big jump there. And let's see, jump again. I don't know how far I'm going to get on this. I'll try to include some on-screen gameplay footage, blow up that thing. I mean, truthfully, this is a very simple game, but again, I quite like playing the old retro-style games. I have an Atari VCS, I have an Evercade, and I like some of these smaller games, easier games that don't take a million hours to get into. And so, in that sense, the Amico appealed to me. But if this is like it, then I can say that probably I don't think that the Amico is going to absolutely set the gaming world on fire overall. Oh, I just died. It's doing so well. I tried this the other day, and it was interesting. I felt like I had like a million lives on it, and I honestly felt like when I eventually died that it had gone wrong, because when I then tried it again, I suddenly found that I'd only got like 3 lives, because it says like 1 life left, but I was just going and going, and I wish I'd gone enough to get to the end of this demo, or however long it lasts, because I'm not sure. Look at that, I'm dead again. So you can still get the Amico app. So it's called Amico Club, just like their Facebook group, and you can still get the app, and you can still play Moon Patrol, and that might be the only chance. If this thing doesn't release, that might be the only way you've got to try an Amico game. Now, people have obviously played it at events, but if this doesn't release, that might be it. It'll be interesting if the Amico doesn't release, what will happen to all of the games that are being worked on, because it's not just like it's a new platform, and they are smaller games, but all of the games I believe are exclusive to Amico, because even though there's something like Missile Command, or like a couple of games that are from Atari or licensed by Atari. They're not the same versions that you get on the Atari VCS. Now, if it doesn't come out, I would be interested in Evercade, like Blaze, or in Atari picking up the rights to this whole thing. And imagine if the Atari VCS said, like Atari said, look, we're helping the Amico. The Amico isn't going to release, but you are going to be able to get a new controller for the Atari VCS, which is the Intellivision Amico controller, or it's the Amico controller for VCS. And so then you have the controller, and all of the games that were going to come out on the Amico are now going to be exclusive for the Atari VCS, because the Atari VCS doesn't have exclusives. And even if it was like they're going to come out on the VCS, but they'll also come out on the Switch, they'll also come out on iPhone or on Android or whatever, that would be cool. I don't know if the level of like graphics and power and everything would mean that they couldn't come out on the Evercade. Obviously, we've had the Evercade and we've had the Evercade VS, and they've come out a year and a half apart. I don't know if Blaze would want to pick up the Amico and release it as a separate product, or if the games could be ported and come out as Evercade cartridges. But I kind of look to these companies as these are the ones doing similar things in a similar space. So yeah, that's I think generally what my thoughts are on the Amico.
But in 1990, with the rise of new video game systems led by Nintendo, interest in Intellivision games faded. INTV was forced to close up shop.
I'm going to stay as positive as I can, and as positive as someone who I'm not that invested in this. As you will have seen on the video earlier, I've tried doing some pre-orders. I now know from that investigation that from the Intellivision's website there are 5,000, let's get the exact number. There are 5,952 orders. So if that's 5,952 people want it, I don't know if Intellivision have the money to be able to get like a limited run of these done just to get it out there. But I just think, like, if that was literally it, if they just put out 6,000 consoles, and then it became this rare thing that people could then develop, like if they made it so that's like, this is how you develop games for the Amico, this is how you jailbreak the system, and this is how you can continue to support it. I think it's something that there'd definitely be a community around, just because the Amiga A500 Mini was recently released, and it's really, I've seen, because I grew up with the Amiga, I'm really seeing people's interest in the Amiga reignited. And I see people interested in the Evercade, and people are excited for the Evercade Indie Heroes collection of games, which are like more like modern made games in a retro style. So there is such a community of people who are interested in modern retro. I would really like to see the Amico get its release. There is definitely going to be, and there definitely already is, some hurt feelings. So there may need to be some healing. There may need to be some work put in to try to put things right. But companies can do it. Big companies can do it. Small companies can do it. Like, just a couple of examples that come to my head is, and companies make mistakes that some people don't ever forgive. But if you look at the like the PlayStation 3, and it was super expensive, and then Sony had to find ways to lower its price and took certain things like out, and then they dropped the price and people weren't happy. And then the Xbox One was shown off, and it was like you have to like be online all the time and you can't share games, and people weren't happy with Xbox. But then, you know, Microsoft spent a couple of years trying to put their Xbox division right, and I think a lot of people are now happier with the Xbox. And like I said, there'll be some people that never forgive mistakes, and I can't imagine all of the challenges that go into this. And I know some people will think that either from this video I've been too negative about the Amico, or the Amiibo, and some people will think that I've been far too positive. But if I am being, in your perception, over positive about it, like I said, I'm very late to the party. This was something I wrote an article about like in June last year. Literally, I think the second or third thing from my Geek Battle Instagram account was about the Amico, and I was like, oh, who's excited for this? And it's only in recent times where I've tried to get a bit more involved and investigate into it. One, it is a interesting story just because I don't really remember something quite like this. Obviously there's been other things like the Atari VCS. If it never come out, people would have said this was like that. The Coleco Chameleon was the thing, which again I only vaguely know the backstory of that from a few years ago, and there are things, and then obviously the Ouya. And look, I have a Ouya right here, so if people are wondering if the Evercade is going to be the next Ouya, what I can say about this is it came out, and there are a bunch of games you can play on it. And yeah, this wasn't the rival to the PS4 and the Xbox One or even the Wii U, and it bombed pretty hard pretty quickly. But because it's out, people can still play around with it. If it never came out, it would just be this thing that got spoke about. So in that sense, I'm all for the idea of the Intellivision Amico getting out there, and I hope whatever this quiet period is, they sort it out and they bring it out and they get it out, and I hope it's good. Also, with Intellivision putting out the games on the Evercade this month, there is still some activity. I don't think it's dead yet.
More than 2 decades after the original idea, Intellivision lives.
And I don't think there's probably really anything that people viewing this on YouTube or on the Amico Facebook group really can do. It is down to what happens behind the closed doors of any negotiations, anything to try to revive it, and hopefully they can. So anyway, I'm going to have to edit this video down. I have recorded for over an hour, and hopefully when I've put this together it doesn't last that long, just because I've been doing the research live throughout the video. Hopefully it'll be interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts on what this situation is, your thoughts on my thoughts. Just help guide me with what's going on with the Amico, because I'm finding it interesting and I'm just seeing more and more about it. So I've tried to do my little bit of digging and investigation into it. I want to remain positive that hopefully it will see a release someday in some form, and hopefully someday soon. But with that, this is the Geek Battle Gaming YouTube channel. Please take a moment and smash that subscribe button, as is the custom for people to say at this point of their videos. Do check out the other videos I've got on the channel. I've just done a big review of the A500 Mini a few weeks ago. I've got the Atari VCS, and I've done a lot of consoles recently, which is quite interesting. But also I've just done some games. I've just done a review a few days ago of the Tempest 4000 game, and in a few days time I'm going to go back to TXK, which is Tempest 4000 but for the PlayStation Vita, before they had the Tempest license. Anyway, check out some of the videos. Stay safe, always stay extremed, and ciao for now.
More than 2 decades after the original idea, Intellivision lives.